I talked to dozens of fans who went to the last World Cup. Almost all of them said the same thing. Not that the tickets were expensive, not that the flights killed them. Something else. Something they never saw coming. The average fan at Qatar 2022 spent significantly more than they budgeted. Per day, not the whole trip. One guy I spoke to, Mark from Manchester, showed up with $4,000 saved for 10 days. He was home in 6. The numbers just didn't add up, he said, and I still don't fully understand where it went. 2026 is 3 countries, 16 cities, the longest distances between any World Cup host venues in history, and every trap that drained Mark's wallet in Doha, still there. Just bigger, spread across a continent. Flights between host cities during the tournament are already running well above normal prices. And on matchday morning, they're in a different league entirely. Same seat, same plane, different panic. This video maps every hidden cost, builds 3 real budgets, and finds the cities where your money actually survives. Stay with me, because the first trap is the one nobody warns you about. Vancouver to Miami is 4,400 kilometers, further than London to Tehran. Both are host cities. I've seen people plan their itinerary like a weekend city break. Game in Seattle Tuesday, fly to Dallas Thursday. That's a 4-hour flight midweek, right after paying for the matchday ticket. Prices on high-demand routes can jump by more than half in the final 48 hours before a major match. A flight that looked manageable when you checked last week won't look the same the morning you actually need it. My mate Carlos followed Argentina through 3 cities at Copa America 2019. The flights cost him more than his accommodation. I thought Brazil was cheap, he said. Brazil was cheap. The planes were not. Same energy here. The cities are the price. The distances between them are the bill. The fix. Think in clusters, not cities. East Coast, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Miami. Central, Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, Atlanta. Honestly, the sweet spot for budget travelers, less chaos than New York with more flights than you'd expect. West Coast in Mexico, LA, San Francisco, Seattle, Guadalajara, Mexico City. Pick a cluster. Follow your team within it. When they move, decide if you move with them or watch the next game at a fan zone. That decision alone could save you several $100s. Here's something I didn't expect when I started looking into this. The cheapest flights between host cities aren't always the direct ones. On certain routes, Dallas to Guadalajara, for example, a connecting flight through Houston can come in meaningfully cheaper than the direct option on the same day. The airline knows who's desperate. The connecting flight still has seats. Worth checking both every single time before you book. You walk into a diner, order a burger and a Coke. Menu says $18. You pay $24. Welcome to America. Sales tax gets added at the register. Nearly 9% in New York, around 8% in Dallas. Then the tip line appears. In the US, tipping at a sit-down restaurant isn't optional. 18 to 20% is the standard, not the ceiling. Servers earn as little as $2.13 an hour in federal minimum wage for tipped workers. Leave nothing, and you're not making a statement. You're just not paying the person who brought your food. That $18 burger is closer to $23 or $24 before you've touched your drink. Multiply that gap across 3 meals a day for 2 weeks and you've quietly spent hundreds of dollars that were never in your plan. That's a group stage ticket. Gone. Hotels have their own version. A room that looks affordable on a normal week doesn't stay that way when tens of thousands of fans are searching the same city on the same night. Prices double, sometimes more. Same room. Same shower that drips a bit on the left side. James, who followed England through some US friendlies last year, described the match week hotel prices as absolutely unhinged. And those were friendly matches. The move that saves real money. Don't book near the stadium. Book on the transit line. Every host city has a metro or commuter train feeding the venue. 3 or 4 stops out, prices still remember what a normal week looks like. You add 20 minutes to your match day. You save significantly per night. Over 10 nights, that's a serious amount of money. And stadium parking, just don't. MetLife charges serious money on a regular NFL day. On a World Cup match day with over 80,000 people? Take the train. I'll be honest about something here. I got this wrong myself once. I covered a major sporting event in Atlanta 2 years ago and booked a hotel that looked fine on the map. Close to downtown, reasonable price, good reviews. What the map didn't show was that the transit line I was counting on stopped running at 11 p.m. Game ended at 10:40. I walked out with tens of thousands of other people into a street with 0 cabs, surge-priced ride shares for a 2-mile trip, and a 40-minute wait. I paid whatever they asked. I've never made that mistake again. Check the last train time before you book. It's one search. It changes everything. Mexico is where your budget breathes. A proper sit-down meal in Mexico City or Guadalajara can cost a fraction of what you'd pay in the US. A clean mid-range hotel comes in well under American prices. The Metro costs less than 30 cents. My friend Yusuf spent a week in Mexico City last year and came back stunned. I ate at a different restaurant every single meal for 7 days and spent less than 3 dinners in London. The city is also genuinely incredible, which helps when you're spending a week there watching football. One thing to plan for, cross-border flights from the US can catch you off guard if you haven't booked early. And stick to bottled water. A stomach situation on match day is not the World Cup experience anyone's hoping for. The US mid-tier cities, Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, Atlanta, are the real budget sweet spot. Hotels and food cost noticeably less than New York or San Francisco, and these cities know how to run big events. Dallas hosted the Super Bowl. The infrastructure is there, which matters more than people realize when tens of thousands of people are all trying to leave at once. New York, San Francisco, Vancouver are the cities that test your limits. A budget hotel in Manhattan during the tournament will not be cheap. A meal for 2 at a mid-range restaurant will surprise you. Coffee is $7. San Francisco adds another layer. Levi's Stadium is 40 miles from the city center, so factor in transport on top of everything else. The backpacker, roughly $80 to $120 per day depending on the city. Hostels, food trucks, public transit only. Comfortable in Mexico, tight but doable in mid-tier US cities. A genuine test of willpower in New York. This is the fan who sees the most matches because every dollar saved is another ticket. The standard fan, somewhere around $200 to $280 per day. Private hotel room, proper meals, occasional rideshare. The trap here is assuming the daily rate stays flat across all 3 countries. A comfortable day in Guadalajara and a comfortable day in New York are not the same number. Not even close. Keep the expensive cities to short stays. The VIP experience, $500 and up, easily. Hotel near the stadium, premium ticket, rental car. You know who you are. One piece of advice, book early. The gap between booking in January and booking in May can be $150 to $200 a night. Over 10 nights, that's money spent purely on procrastination. Book now. Flights to host cities are already trending well above where equivalent routes were a year ago. Hotels in the expensive cities are filling fast. The fan who books early pays one price. The fan who panics later pays whatever is left. There's no version of this tournament where waiting saves you money. Not one. The football is the reason. The money is what keeps you there past the group stage. A fan who runs out of budget in week 1 watches the quarterfinals from a pub back home, refreshing their phone and pretending that's fine. It's not fine. 3 habits. Book early, stay on the transit line. Think in clusters. But there's one venue where every single rule gets pushed to the edge. The traffic, the parking, the price of simply arriving at the gate, the stadium where the final will be decided. That's exactly where we go next. Drop your city in the comments. Where are you going and what's your budget? And if this tournament is yours, subscribe. The next one is the big one.